I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the How do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren, Bowie, Daniel O'Brien. Two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
So, hello again, and welcome to another episode of Quick Question with Soren and Daniel, the podcast where two best friends and comedy writers ask each other questions and give each other answers. I am one half of that podcast, senior writer for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, author of How to Fight Presidents with Daniel O'Brien, and newsletter author Daniel O'Brien, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Soren Bowie. Soren, say hello.
Your book is not called How to Fight Presidents with Daniel O'Brien. Like, you're not there. You're not. Damn it. You're not in a tag team situation with these presidents.
What a branding miss for me.
that I kind of think that would have been great too. I think that yeah, and I don't actually. I'm trying to decide which side I actually want you on, because you could also reveal a lot of details about yourself, about like your strengths and weaknesses. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if like it's better to be like you're on the side of the presidents and now you got to fight. You got to fight John Adams and Daniel, or Daniel's on your team for all of this and he'll help you.
I'd love to redo the book with changing not a single thing about any chapter except just adding an addendum at the end that is just like, but don't forget, there's the wild card of no matter what you do with. Against Franklin Pierce, there's Daniel in the shadows. You got and like I know you might think you have this under control. Get surprised, dipshit. He's got a knife this time. Ah.
Yes, if you could do it like an elementary school kid, where it's like, and this is how you defeat Polk, but not Daniel because Daniel's too strong.
Yeah, because I actually have a shield that blocks lasers now too. So,
yep, I got some mithril armor.
Yeah.
You don't know that term because you're not a Lord of the Rings guy.
I only read it the one time. I didn't read shit. I only saw it the one time. It's good, but I didn't. Not enough of it like lodged in my memory at all.
My son has so I've been really on my son at these camps to remember the names of the kids that are his friends there, because that's just like not a thing that he's gonna do. And he came home yesterday and he's like, I made a friend. And I was like, do you know his name? He's like, yes, I know it. And I was like, what is it? And he goes, Rohan. And I was like the Riders of Rohan?
Like Riders of Riddermark? Oh, no, Riders of Rohan? Nah,
Riders of Rohan.
Idiot.
And he was like, I don't know what that is. And
Theodwyn was a rider of Riddermark, Soren. Come on, Daniel.
Yeah, not Carl Urban.
No.
He was a writer of Rohan, right?
I thought he was a writer of Riddermark.
Riders of Rohan.
I don't
know.
None of this nerd stuff is
We're not
going
to solve it here. Yeah.
No.
Let's move on. But yeah, he found a friend, and I don't know if this is like also culturally a name that belongs to other people that I just don't know and I'm ignorant, or if these people were just huge Lord of the Rings fans and they're like, well, we got to use some name. It's either this or it's Balrog, and I don't know which to do.
I'm so well, I'm not really nervous about hopefully one day having kids and coming up with names for them. I'm not very nervous about screwing the naming thing up because I made the very smart decision of falling in love with a dominant personality type who runs our household and makes our decisions. So she's going to make sure I don't do anything really stupid. But if left to my own devices, the fear of picking a dumb name because of an arbitrary rule that I set for myself was always in the back of my head. Like when I was graduating high school and you do your senior quotes, I had decided probably in middle school that my senior quote was going to be something from Ben Folds or Ben Folds 5, because
Yeah.
I just decided like this is my favorite artist and group of all time, and no matter what happens, I'm gonna put some quote of theirs in my high school senior yearbook. And like I think Ben Folds is very poetic and lyrical. His songs are one of the things that I like about them, however, are just how casual and informal he is lyrically, and how like off the beaten path, and like I'm really drawn to him singing story songs and often using lyrics that aren't found in other songs. As a result, there are very few opportunities of just like a pure line of succinct poetry or cleverness that would work for a senior quote, let alone something that like
guy.
no, and especially not something that like is applicable to me, because again, so many of his songs are like story song, point of view songs, and not like there's no like what a long strange trip it's been. There's no like universal thing in a lot of his songs, and scrapping universal, very little of it was personal to me, and I ended up with something that kind of sounded profound, but probably wasn't really. It was from a song called
Okay.
I know exactly what it was. It was 1 Down and 3.6, Tomorrow and I'm Outta Here. It's from a song that he wrote that is about writing songs for his record contract, and like the song needs to be a certain length of time to appease his record label, and he's just sort of doing it so he can leave. I didn't connect with any of the songwriting aspect of it. I just thought like, he says tomorrow and I'm out of here, and that's sort of what I'm doing. I'm leaving high school and going somewhere else. 1 Down and 3.6. I don't know. Maybe 1 plus 3.6 is 4.6. That an argument could be made that high school is 4.6 years. I don't know. This was like I was just trying to stretch this tenuous connection to be something about me and about my high school time. Ultimately, it's not. And even more ultimately, it's such an obscure Ben Folds song that no one will know or catch it or care. I don't even care about it all these years later. This is a very long way of saying, left to my own devices with a kid, there's a very real chance that I would have to name it and be like, well, it's got to be something from Spider-Man. It can't be Peter, though.
Uncle
It can
Ben.
be Parker. It could be
Name my
Uncle.
child
Uncle's
Uncle.
a good name. Name my son Uncle. This is
thought
my
you were-
daughter Goblin.
I was really hoping that you were going to say that the Ben Folds lyrics that you had were going to be like, off the coast and I'm headed nowhere. she's a brick and I'm drowning slowly. Because you're like, I'm going somewhere, but I don't really know where. Well, I know I'm going to.
You know, if I could put
Rome.
myself back in the brain of 17-year-old Daniel as I'm coming up with quotes, I'm sure I had the genuine thought like, it can't be brick. Everyone's going to choose brick. Everyone graduating high school in 2004 is going to choose brick. I gotta go weird with it. I gotta do something else.
I also had a senior page, and going back and looking at it, it's very fun because a senior page says almost nothing about you.
Yeah.
And like,
That's weird. They had books in that strange yurt you went to school in.
yeah, so we did books. We didn't just carve it out into the cave walls in which we were going to school. But on mine, I have some anime characters that I thought I was really good at drawing. Guys I had seen other places.
That you
and I was
drew!
like, and I was like, I could draw that. And so I would draw them. I'm pretty confident that they are Dragon Ball Z characters, but I to this day couldn't even tell you. I just liked the way they looked, and I knew that I could draw it too. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
there's-
well, these guys are going on each side. These are my bookends right here.
There's something about Dragon Ball Z hairstyles that make people think they can draw, and they can for a little bit. Like the hairstyle silhouette that Goku and Vegeta cut is like, oh, these are some pretty like very drastic and dramatic straight lines that I
They're
can
just-
easily
yeah.
do. And as soon as you're drawing Mickey Mouse, essentially, as soon as you draw the silhouette of this hairline, people are like, Goku, I got it. I know who that is. And when you get that recognition, it fools you into thinking you're a good artist.
And when you just look at the drawing, I mean, there's like not a lot of shadowing and stuff happening on those faces.
Yeah.
The faces are fairly simple. And the hair really is just like a longer Lisa Simpson hair. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's easy. I just point,
Yeah.
done. And then the body, like, just like I liked the positions that they would stand in. Their arms are kind of behind them and their backs are arched. And I was like, fucking, I could draw the shit out of that.
Yeah.
and did.
Got
And
really
then I also know
solid
that,
necks. Yeah.
I know that on there, I probably have a quote. Who knows? It's probably Blues Traveler or something like that. And then I know that I
Excellent.
thanked my family, thanked my brother, and said that he was a good role model, and realized years later, and no one had corrected me, that it's spelled ROLL in what I wrote. It's role model,
Excellent.
like a dinner role model, and
Yeah.
had no idea. I was fucking 17 and just dumb.
That is tremendous.
I wonder what I quoted. I'm sure
You were really sincere, thanking your parents and stuff. Like you were going to
Yeah.
fucking war or something.
Yeah, which was humiliating also because the page across from mine, someone had just written "down with capitalism" and drawn a skateboard.
Yeah.
Didn't even
That
put
is-
their name.
That is such a real message.
Yeah,
It is so, and like prescient.
I
Yeah.
love that they drew, because they had a message that they wanted to get out, maybe, or maybe they were like, let's just cop out on this because it's sincerity. Sincerity is tough when you're 17.
Yeah.
But also still could not help themselves, and they were like, well, I can draw skateboards real good.
Yeah.
People should
Yeah.
know that.
Down with capitalism. Unless, would you guys buy my drawings? You guys
You guys wanna?
like my art?
I don't draw people on them.
there's
Not yet.
a kid who is 2 years older than me, Mike. I won't use his full name because I don't want to out him on the podcast, I guess. But his senior quote that I liked at the time and that I still think about today as a really good and like bizarrely mature and clever senior quote was, "This was nothing like Saved by the Bell." And at the time I was like, that's pretty funny. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, that's such a crazy advanced thought for a 17-year-old to have when they're looking back at their high school life and just acknowledging this was nothing like Saved by the Bell. That's like,
It's great.
in retrospect, very obvious, but at the time when everyone else is like, maybe I'll pretend I'm a different person and I'll quote Walt Whitman here in my senior quote where I'm going to be immortalized. And this was a person
Yeah.
who like very casually, very down to earth, which is like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. The show was wrong. All right, bye. I'm done now.
Right. To be not use somebody else's words, first of all, is an outstanding
Yes.
choice by a
Holy cow.
17-year-old. And one that I don't think anyone will, like, everybody gets tripped up on that. Everybody's going to, the transcendentalists, they're like, okay, I'm fucking for this time, I'm a really big Emerson fan. So
Yeah.
here we go. There's got to be something in these books. I'm confident that I use something from, God, I know that I do. It's like probably Camus or something like that. I'm just such a baby.
It's a shame the rest of life isn't divided in as neat chapters as high school is, where at the end of a certain chapter you can have something like a yearbook that sort of collects all of the things that happened in this either 4-year span or this job, and then you can put a little quote that represents where you're at or represents what that experience was at to you. But no, you don't have any of that shit because nobody
don't.
cares. And like,
I'll
where would
argue
I?
that you don't really have it in high school either, because
No.
you're getting, like, here was the chess club, here was the drama club, or whatever you happen to have, but you're not getting the actual seminal or formative experiences in that yearbook that everybody had that year. You can't be like, here's that party where John slept with Lisa,
Right.
or like that, or like, here's that bonfire we had on the Sewell's Ranch. Like, you can't do that stuff, which would be.
Yeah.
I'm going to advocate for it now. Teachers, just like, be cool about this. Let the kids first of all, start by putting some cool people in the yearbook crew.
Yeah.
But like, have those real parties that kids went to and like everyone was there. Have those in the yearbook. Let 'em
Totally.
do it.
All of us, we were all at 100%.
Dan was there. Dan was there.
Parties,
He's
yeah,
promising he
yeah.
was there.
Yeah. And Soren's right. It's the reason there are no pictures of that party that we were all at in the yearbook, or indeed anywhere, is because of just lame ass teachers blocking those photographs.
Yeah. Those dumb teachers, those squares that won't let me put all the pictures up all over school like I want to.
That big party at the mill.
We
Oh,
definitely
man.
took party. We
We
took
got
pictures.
nutty.
You weren't at the mill.
Are you?
I know you weren't. At the mill.
You seem like that seemed like an authentic moment of you lost in your memories of parties in high school.
Yeah, it was. Well, I was just thinking about the feeling, the sensation of being at a party in high school, and I will not say that I don't think it's ever been accurately captured in a movie, and it's the the real uneasiness of just being at a party. People get to the party and they're like, "We made it! Like we're here." There's always the threat during that party that this is going to end with police or parents fucking you up, like ruining the rest of your year. And it's like you're always on edge. You're like a rabbit at these things because there's always some danger that's present. And nobody treats it like that in a movie. Everybody's just like, we made it to the party. It's done. Now look, the kid who plays Dungeons and Dragons and tutors me in math is fucking singing karaoke. That's not happening.
There's two things I want to say. One of them is I carried that fear with me well into adulthood of just like being at a party with alcohol at 25 years old and being like, man, I hope the cops or my mom doesn't show up. This would be really bad. This is going to go on my permanent record.
That was
the other
like
thought I have is that
Go ahead.
The party experience that I had in high school fell under a couple of categories. There was like the cast parties after the school shows, which is like, I'm not telling any tales out of school here, a famously horny endeavor because of high school and theater and co-ed sleepovers, those parties, and a type of party that I don't know, I feel like is probably more common than we all talk about because it doesn't make for good movie fodder. But there was like a New Year's Eve, probably my junior or senior year of high school, where my buddy Joe and I were driving around and party hopping to different parties. And the one that we went to with alcohol that I didn't drink because I was very cool and I didn't drink till I was 21. We get to this party and there's like all these high school kids drinking at our friend Lori's house. And the thing about these parties that make them uncinematic and not fun for high school movies is the parents are there and like monitoring and supplying the alcohol. And we show up and they're like, hello, welcome to our party. I'm Lori's mom. If you're going to have a sip of alcohol, you're giving me your keys right now. Yeah. That was like how they greeted everyone who entered the house, except me, because they see me and they're like, if you're going to have a sip of, oh, Daniel, yeah, you're fine. Go ahead. We know who you are. Your
reputation
you're basically
had
a chaperone.
Echoed all the way to the parents.
Yeah.
That's
in fact,
rough.
we can take the night off. You'll watch the kids, right? You'll be responsible. But we were just like, it was among like this particular sect of, enrichment and like AP kids, like the gifted and talented students in the high school, the good kids who are still going to drink. They have the kind of parents who are like, yeah, you'll drink Mike's Hard in front of me, and like we will be in communication with the other parents of gifted and talented students to let them know what is going on in this situation, where it's like a controlled bubble of like fake youthful rebellion, just because like alcohol was involved, but it was still like very carefully monitored. And I started this by saying that I imagine this is more common than people talk about, but you seemed pretty surprised by the concept of it.
Yeah, I'm like really racking my brain to think of the times when parents were actually there. And the only time I can think of was I had a friend and her dad owned I won't even say it because I don't want to out it, but like there's that type of beer that's like, it's in most bars and stuff now. And they owned it and they had a ranch, and so there was always like a heavy supply of this beer. And when her parents were there, they were also very, very drunk, and there was no one there who was like keeping the reins on the situation. But everywhere else we went, we went there because there were no parents, and the majority of the time it was not indoors. We would even in winter, like you would go to some ranch, or somebody in your school would have like fields for whatever reason because their parents are potato farmers, and you have a bonfire there, and it's that way you're out of the way of police. Like police aren't going to come in and do anything, and you.
Yeah, they see a fire and they're like, everything's normal over there.
Well, it's private property. They're not allowed in. I mean, they'll sit outside. We would have parties where police just sat on the road, camped out on the road, and waited for people to leave, and just pulled over every single person that left. And also small town, right? So
Yeah.
they have nothing better to do. They're pumped. When they see that or they get wind that kids are having a party, the police were so fucking amped in our town because it was something to do, and they were ready to bust some kids. But yeah, we didn't really have those like sanctioned ones where parents were like, and I'm going to create a situation where you're all allowed to drink, but I'm going to be the bartender and I'm going to tell you when you've had too much.
Right. And there were certainly unsanctioned parties around as well, and kids would get drunk in the woods and in various fields. I don't know that bonfires were big in my town.
Such a big part of my childhood. And I would say arguably more dangerous than it would have been in New Jersey, because at least New Jersey gets some rain.
Yeah.
It was like we were risking burning down the forest every time we did it. These dry hay fields being like, a fire, that's what this needs.
Yeah. Should we get into the show?
Oh, God, the show. Oh, we're supposed to be doing the show right now.
I know, yeah. I lost my clock that tells me how long we've been talking.
Oh, it's 21 minutes. Look what I did.
Is it a chance it's an hour?
Put a pin through this pencil's eraser. It was really satisfying.
That's pretty tight. An eraser,
Okay.
huh?
Shall we move on?
Someone's planning on making mistakes. Couldn't be me. Soren, I got a couple of quick questions for you.
Ooh, a couple?
Yeah.
Shoot.
They're wedding related questions, because
Yes.
I find myself in a place right now where the wedding creeps ever closer, and we've done so much stuff getting ready for it, and there's still a bunch more to do, but a lot of it is stuff that we can't do right now. It's a lot of like,
Yeah.
wait for the guest list to be confirmed and locked so we can start hitting everything that gets all of the new mini games that get unlocked when you reach that special achievement.
Yeah.
We are not there yet. We're in this place in between final preparations and locking things down early, and so far in my experience, it's a true experience of planning a wedding, but it's familiar to other large projects as well, where you are in a mode for so much of it, where it's like planning. Every day you wake up and there's something you can do for the wedding, for the project that you're working on. And then you reach a point where there's not anything you can do. And I guess I want to know, and it's like, it's a very uneasy feeling where it's like, but I've trained myself to have a wedding related thing on my to-do list, and now I don't have it. So I feel like I'm falling behind, even though intellectually I know I'm not. And I'm curious if this was also your experience, and if so, if you found like stuff to do. There's plenty of things online where they're like, well, if you find yourself with nothing to do, you could always work on your vows. And I'm like, I've been working on my vows since fucking 2023, you idiots. This is who are you talking to? Who is waiting till 2 months before the wedding to start tinkering with their vows? So what did you have this, and what did you do? How did you fill your time?
I'll say this is like a thing I feel regularly when we got a house, or when we were getting married, or we were about to have children, that I carved out that certain amount of time, right, each day, where you're like, and this is where I dedicate to this thing. And it wasn't like a conscious decision, like I was taking 2.5 hours, and once that was done, I'd be like, the rest goes to tomorrow. It was just like, I know that throughout the day, this is what's going to be top of mind. This is the thing I'm going to take care of. When you don't have that for even like 2 or 3 days in a row, it's so fast how you slip back into your old life and just like fuck the wedding. and then when stuff comes up that you need to take care of again, you're like, I don't have time for this. Can't think about this right now. Like I stopped thinking about this. That was done. And so you're right. You do have to find something to fill that void. Otherwise, you will start using up that time, that real estate in your day for something else.
And I could already see it being used poorly because we had my brother and sister-in-law and their kids over, and my nephew was like, "Can we play Mario Wonder because I have that and he doesn't have it." So I was like, yeah. I charged my Switch, and then once I had the Switch charged and playing a game for the first time in a while, I was like, "Ah, yes, my old friend. I remember you. You have lots of games on you, huh?
Yeah.
Why did I stop? Ah, that's right. Other responsibilities. Well, let me just...
I don't have those at the moment. What if I just played right now? And then tomorrow you feel owed. Like you feel owed that game. Yeah. And you're like, what?
Right.
I played yesterday.
The morning is when we play Switch. What happened?
Yeah. You got to fill it with something wedding related. Here's the bad news. I don't have any advice for what it could be because I felt that same pull. I felt like I'm done thinking about this for right now. And I started to like lose that momentum. And then like it became a fight. It became a fight between me and my wife because she was doing way more of the wedding planning stuff after that point. And I was just like, yeah, that sounds good. Like I don't have a lot of thoughts about the centerpieces. She's like, well, we have to have thoughts about the centerpieces. And I'm like, oh, okay. I can't do it. Let's buy some moss.
Yeah.
And
here's another crucial part of this narrative that I think acknowledging it takes me out of the running for fiance of the year is I bet if I asked fiance for tasks, I bet there is stuff to do, Soren. I bet there's lots to do.
You cannot possibly ask.
I can't ask, and also I bet the answers aren't going to be the fun kind of things that I have enjoyed tackling and having opinions on. I bet it's going to be
wrangling contractors.
The other stuff. Yeah, no, I think it's like looking at. I don't even want to mention it to you. Looking at fonts on different signs. It's going to be that kind of thing.
Let me help.
No.
I'll pick something for you. I'll pick something great.
But it's this question ties into my other quick question for you, since I don't think we're getting an answer for it, but it's been so separating the wedding as a celebration of love in our family and friendships and everything like that. It's been
One
so
week
fun.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's been so fun to have a project to work on together, and the same way that like you get a little bit of like melancholy after a play is done, after closing night of a play, and it's like, but the thing that we have our cast party, and then the thing that was my life for this many months is done now, and there's that little melancholy there, and like the same thing after probably lots of athletic achievements, but certainly from my own experience, like finishing a big race when I was done with the LA Marathon, and it was like this was the thing that took up my time. This was the thing that I like. My Saturday was towards the end there just running. That was like, it was prepping for running a long distance, recovering from running. That was what 50% of my weekends have been for the last month and a half or so. And now what do? I don't think it's a surprise that I adopted my dog Jackson like 3 weeks after I finished the LA Marathon. It's just like another thing I could put my energy on. And so I'm curious if like there will obviously be like very real things for the two of us to work on together in our shared future, but I'm also thinking like immediately after the wedding, did you have that like were you just happy it was over, or was it like now what's another thing we can tackle together? What's the next project that we can co-chair? Or was it immediately like because you didn't buy your house immediately after your wedding, right?
No, we didn't buy it. Well, hold on. When did we? No, we didn't buy it for a little while. We bought it like a year later. We were on our honeymoon a year later. Oh, by the way, that's how we did it, and I recommend it highly. You do it your own way because I think at this point you're already in. But you have the wedding, and the wedding is such like a big deal that it's hard to at the same time tackle a honeymoon and like plan all of that. And so you have a wedding, and then a year later to celebrate your first anniversary is your honeymoon, and that's where you like go off. And you
we're
do
delaying the
something.
honeymoon for those reasons for sure. Where it's. We were just talking about this with someone. It might have been you on this podcast, but just the idea that like knowing myself, I know that I like a very active vacation. I like adventures and things to do and excursions and that kind of thing. Like that's my preference. I know that if I were to plan a honeymoon immediately after the wedding right now, that it would be not that. It would be spa and relaxing and like some kind of all-inclusive thing where I don't need to think about anything. And I think, well, that would be certainly pampering and relaxing, but I know in my bones that that's like a forced decision. That if I have more time, there's a much better chance that we will plan something that we both actually want more than what we need immediately after a wedding.
Also, 2 days, even after 2 days of that, where you're like, and then we're just going to like relax. We're not going to think about anything. We're going to sit by the pool. We're maybe going to get back massages. 2 days of that. And then after that, you're like, I'm going crazy.
Do they have hikes on this island?
Yeah, I got to do something. So to answer your question, I still think about this. My wedding was in a small mining town in which the population of the wedding outpaced the population of the town, where there were more people at the wedding than lived in the town. And this is a small little community, very, very cool, but you basically get to take the whole thing over. And that was really fun. Yeah. Then the wedding happened. Then the wedding was over, and Colleen and I stayed another night there. So everyone else left. And the next night, I remember standing outside. Maybe I'd gone to my car to get something, but I'm standing outside in the dark and it's so quiet. And I'm just like, this profound sadness that it was over hit me, where I was like, and no one was there. Like we were alone. And, and everyone I knew and loved had been there. And now they just were all like, and now we go back to our lives. Like we stopped focusing on you for a moment. I was like, I don't want that. I want you all back here looking at pay attention to us. And that was really, really hard to have it be over, because like the LA Marathon, you have something that you're preparing for and you're a little nervous about it. There's a lot of work that goes in up front, and then you're not even thinking about the end date, or like finals at school. Like you're not thinking about what happens after it. And then all of a sudden it's over and you're like, oh shit, I didn't plan for this part. Like I didn't plan for there to not be this thing happening anymore. I only got to that point and now there's nothing. And in some cases that's very relieving. I mean, that's cathartic and beautiful. Like finals, like after finals, you go crazy because you're like, I didn't even think I'd make it to here. But with a wedding, it's really rough because that's like such a great fun time. And it goes by so fast, and then all of a sudden it's completely over. Like it's like shut off the next day. People leave like in the morning the next day, and then you're alone, and you're just like, wait.
They leave and they get on planes. Some of them, they leave. They flee the state.
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to be. I did book a plane ticket for Colleen and I for the afternoon, so that we had time to recover if we decided to go ham at the wedding.
Yeah, that's nice.
So we'll be around a little bit.
You should like book a full extra day, because I am so excited about the wedding, but I believe everyone when they tell me that it's going to go by so fast. So I'm thinking that we'll have our wedding on our wedding day, and then like the next day I'll be like, okay, now we'll do it again, but someone else gets married. Like keep everything the same, just different bride and groom. So now this time I get to watch and be part of it and not have to talk or give any speeches. And now I want to like really take it in and really see what a wedding in this space is like.
Yeah, I don't know when this tradition started taking place, but people have now started doing like a bagel breakfast or whatever the day after the wedding, where everyone just like gets together and has their decompression, where they're just like, let's like hit all that, let's go through all the hits. Like what were the fun things? And like this is my favorite thing. I peed the bed after I got home. It's crazy. and everyone like it's just like the credits rolling on this thing, but
Yeah.
people can't leave yet. Like they just don't want to go yet. And then when everyone starts trickling away, like, oh man, it's so sad. So I'm just preparing you emotionally right now that like be ready for that
Yeah.
and have something to do the next
Yeah.
day. Have something that you would think would be fun for like planned or coming up after that.
Yeah. Maybe we'll pack a puzzle.
Nope, that's not what I'm saying. That sounds worse.
All right.
A quiet puzzle at home? Mm-hmm. No, I don't think that's the thing.
We'll put on old seasons of Dexter and do a puzzle. That's not fun?
Oh my god, that sounds so sad. To rewatch Dexter.
I think I just associate Dexter with having a lot of like a rewatch of a show like Dexter that's like 7 or 8 seasons at this point. I just
Yeah.
associate that with like having a lot of time on my hands. When I look
That's-
back in my
no,
life and realize the amount of times that I've like rewatched Sopranos or Game of Thrones and just how essential COVID was to making those things happen, that
Yeah.
now I associate that with just like the time vacuum of wedding planning being over, where it's just like, I guess I could write another book. What did I used to do? What are the things that I used to do? Dexter?
Yeah, I get out that Switch, man. That Switch will
Yeah.
eat up a lot of time. Dexter's a tough one because Dexter you also have to watch with the eyes of the time. It feels a little more zeitgeisty, where you can't just watch it passively. I think that would be a really hard experience to do now in 2024. I think you got to like really be like, okay, this was the first time people were really interested in the idea of a hero also being the bad guy.
Yeah.
And like really like training yourself to be like, they were breaking new ground. That's why it's like this. They were breaking new ground. They didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a guy who like did his own research to decide who should die? Because he didn't trust the system.
Didn't trust the system, but and he treated splatter of blood like it was art. And
Yeah.
already I'm out. Already that's a thing that doesn't appeal to me because I'm like, oh, it sounds like there's
Yeah.
a lot of blood in this show.
Well, I guess
yeah,
you're
don't
not
do that.
excited about the
Take a
prequel
hacky
series
sack.
of Dexter coming out. Oh, hacky sack? Okay.
Yeah,
What
take a
does
hacky
Freddie
sack.
Prinze Jr. say? Never drop the ball? Never
Yeah.
drop the sack? No.
That can't be right.
Never let it drop?
Never let it drop. Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
You got to do it in the cadence, otherwise I can't remember.
Sure.
What was that?
the-
That was Can't Hardly Wait? What was that?
No, he was not in Can't Hardly Wait. That was in She's All That.
She's all that. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yes.
That was and the particular like the way that my crack.com internet brain has fried is that is a movie I have not seen, but it was important to work at Cracked to know that scene in particular and what it was from and who was saying it
Okay.
and the context of it and what was going on. And it's just the same way that I answer any of the trivia questions that I answer, and someone's like, how do you know that? I'm like, I do not know. It
Yeah.
was at some point for 10 years of my life, all we did was look at strange bits of trivia and pop culture facts and commit them to memory and verify them and vet them. And now they're just in there. And that's why I know beat for beat
Yeah.
this scene in a movie I've never watched before.
Because I can't turn off. Yeah, I do that to this day. People will be like, hey, have you seen this movie? And I have to say, no. But what that means is, for all intents and purposes, yes, I probably can quote it better
Yeah.
than you. I know enough of the scenes that I have like the general plot all built out, and I know enough of the stuff like that happens at each individual
Yeah.
moment. Yeah, I know the road trip. I know where they go at each stage. Like,
I could have
that's like-
said,
yeah.
yes, I have seen it, but I also don't want to lie to you.
Because every once in a while I'm wrong. Every once in a while something comes up and I'm like, oh, shit. I guess I didn't know that movie as well as I thought I did. I just watched Top Gun Maverick yesterday, Daniel, and as I was watching it
For the first time?
for the first time, had a hard time deciding whether I had already seen this movie because I knew what to expect. I knew it was coming at every single turn. I knew exactly what was going to happen, to the point where I was like, did I watch this fucking movie already? And I hadn't, but I just, because it's so part of the pop culture, it's, I knew it. I knew everything that was going to happen. There were no surprises whatsoever in that movie.
No. Even having Miles Teller with the sunglasses and mustache and hairstyle of the original Goose,
Yeah.
doing the piano playing scene, just like, oh yeah, it's good that they're making a Top Gun for if you hadn't seen Top Gun. This will be really nice for those people.
Yeah, the Tom Cruise and Miles Teller. Oh no, not even them. But what's his name? Glenn Powell and Miles Teller shaking hands at the end after they get out of their planes. I was like, fuck it, I think I saw this.
My favorite thing in Top Gun Maverick, a movie that fucking rules. My favorite thing in it is when they get saved at the end of the movie by Glenn Powell's character. He just comes out of nowhere. He's not even part of the team. He didn't make the cut for the team. They, I thought, sent him home. And then he just flies into enemy territory, big smile on his face, saving everyone's ass at the end of the movie. And I was watching it with my parents at their house, and I think we just like joked in real time of seeing that, of his character being like, here you go, fly boys. I didn't learn a lesson in this movie. Just like fully a character.
I'm still an asshole.
No arc whatsoever. Just like, I started pretty high on the cockiness scale, and then I got booted out of flight camp, and you'd think I would have learned something, but nope. Still a prick, saving the day, and I'm right for not learning a lesson.
Yeah,
what should the lesson have been for me?
I think maybe that he comes back to help. I don't really, you know what? I'm not even going to try to get inside the head of Top Gun. But I did have a question about it that maybe you can answer for me. I hope this isn't too niche for the podcast.
Yeah.
Jennifer Connelly in it. I got the sense that there's another Top Gun that I didn't see, where, like, in between the old one and this one, where he knows this woman and knows her daughter.
Yeah.
Were they in the first one?
Nope, they're not in the first one. I think it's truly just they didn't. Who was his love interest in the first Top Gun?
Charlie. Her name.
It's not Jennifer Grey.
Top Gun.
Whomever it is, whomever his love
Kelly
interest
McGillis.
in
Kelly McGillis.
Kelly McGillis. I think they just decided, like, we can't bring her back because even though time has passed for Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise, it's woman time has passed for her, and that's different for movies, so we're not allowed to show her anymore. So we need to have Tom Cruise with a different adult woman that he has some kind of history with, but not the one from before. And they just swapped in, like, for all intents and purposes, Jennifer Connelly is doing the Kelly McGillis thing, but the movie has just decided, like, no, we just think Jennifer Connelly is... I'm not even going to fill in the blanks of what I think the studio thinks Jennifer Connelly is with relation to Kelly McGillis.
Kelly McGillis. Oh man, that's
more cinematic.
But then, like, I understand why you would do that in a film where you'd be like, we need a new love interest. I'm not going to say that I understand why they did it with her or like Kelly McGillis, but like I understand that you're like, we should just have a new love interest in this movie. Let's do as little backstory as possible. This backstory is so complicated and hairy. There's like a lot of him having left and coming back, and like she's a little angry at him. Also, she used to date somebody that he used to know. They have a daughter. The daughter is somebody who Tom Cruise previously has some sort of relationship with, but we're not going to really address that much, other than maybe they don't totally get along. And I'm like, Where are we coming from? Where is Top Gun 2 where I should have seen all of this stuff? Where is this? There's no reason for the daughter to be there.
Yeah, you're asking the kinds of questions that we never used to ask in movies. That's the part of time that that Tom Cruise would like us all to get back to. When movies were just like just a bunch of hot people saying cool lines one after the other and explosions happening. That's what movies used to be, and he wants us to get back there. It was ruined by pedantic assholes on the internet asking questions about how things work or why characters had certain motivations. And I know. Couldn't be us.
I was surprised that there was no Meg Ryan. That Miles Teller didn't have a scene with Meg Ryan.
Was Meg Ryan? So here's what's funny. I've never seen Top Gun. Was Meg Ryan in the original Top Gun?
That's Goose's wife.
Huh.
She's like an integral part of it. She's probably in it more than Kelly McGillis.
Really?
Yeah,
Meg
she's
Ryan?
huge in it. Meg Ryan is guy from ER's wife, is Goose's wife.
Wow.
Yeah,
He is,
and they're great. Like their chemistry rules in the movie, and then she's devastated when he's dead, and Tom Cruise spends most of the time with her. She's a big part of that movie.
Huh.
I'm looking at pictures of Kelly McGillis now. I feel like they could have done it. I feel like she could have been in this goddamn movie. Easy.
I'm sorry, man.
Maybe she just doesn't act anymore.
What?
I don't know.
Why did you watch Top Gun Maverick last night?
I've been wanting to see it
I mean,
for
I
so
don't-
long.
That's fair.
I had a chance. Go ahead.
I watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire a couple days ago for no reason.
Had you seen it before?
No,
Yeah, I have not seen it
it's
yet.
bad.
Is it really bad? Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
I also didn't see the other one, the first Paul Rudd one. So I got to go back. I still have a lot of catching up to do. I'd been wanting to see Top Gun for a very long time, and it just wasn't available to me in a non-rentable format until now.
Yeah.
Like I kept looking. I mean, that was one of the one movies where you had talked about it, and you're like, it's just a really fun movie. And I was like, that's what I want. I want fun movies. And so I'd been looking for it, and I was always like, you could rent it. And then I just saw that it was on Prime, and I was like, pulled the trigger.
Hell yeah.
Spent the whole. I felt great yesterday. I sat around all day, no job, watching a movie, and felt great.
That's awesome, man. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
What does your clock say about timing?
It's time to go.
All right. You want to take us home?
Yeah.
Sick.
Well, I think that'll do it for us. You've been listening to Quick Question with Soren and Daniel. You know that. You can find Daniel or I on Bluesky. Although I have not seen a lot out of Daniel on Bluesky.
I just did a
occasionally I
whole
think he posts.
run. I just did a whole multi-thread run about Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Well, that sounds great.
It's really getting some heat for me.
Okay. I'm going to go find it and re-skeet it.
Hell yeah.
You find us there. You can also go to X if you want to. I think Quick Question is still on there. But really, you're going to find like clips of this podcast, the kind of stuff, the juice, the meat. You're going to find that on Instagram. You're going to find that on TikTok. You can also follow this podcast on YouTube if you want to see our faces while we do it. If you liked our theme song, that's Me Rex. You can find their music anywhere you stream, but also go to merex.bandcamp.com for their full albums. And we have to always thank the incomparable, the lovable, the adorable Gabe Harder, who keeps this podcast running and makes it all happen. And I'm going to just say that's it today. It's other stuff, Patreon stuff, but you know all this. Goodbye.
Nope. Bye.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favorite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? What did I do? Where did all go? Why do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren, Bowie, Daniel O'Brien. Two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time, yeah.